Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 World Cup match. We have got another match from the Esports World Cup 2024, where the best Starcraft 2 players showed us just how darn good they are. And we are on the map Crimson Court today. That'll be the court for this match to be played on. And then we have got a Protoss taking on a Zerg, a PvZ between two incredibly aggressive players. It's going to be herO, the Korean Protoss, taking on Reynor, a world champion in his own right. And so a ZvP between two players that are probably going to be trying to kill each other as quickly as possible, I imagine. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, go ahead and click that like button. If we can hit, let's say, 19 likes for every supply herO has, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying whatever. Let me know what you had for breakfast or anything, as those comments do help out. They do help out with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm posting pretty much daily videos on the channel at the minute. And yeah, we'll see where this game's gonna go. As per usual, StarCraft 2 having a minute or two before the game really takes off, as the players both go for their opening plays, as the Protoss gets that wall up to be safe against any Zerg shenanigans. We do have herO going for his, I believe this is mainly a herO thing, going for his pylon in the wall. As for those of you that don't know or don't follow StarCraft 2 as the pro scene anyway, as closely, Protoss generally build the pylon at the back of their wall and then complete their wall with like another gateway or something. So then they can then the pylon isn't part of the wall because it's weaker, and lings do tend to kill these pylons. herO, though, has kind of got it down to a science that he can go for that. It almost kind of baits the Zerg a little bit. And then we have the first Adept on the way out for herO. The second one is on the way as well. We also saw herO start his Warp Gate, then cancel his Warp Gate so he could get this Stargate up as quickly as possible. So he wants to get out a fast Oracle, most likely, so he can then start putting the pressure, keeping tabs on Reynor. Oracles in general are just a great unit. We see this first Adept poking the Zerg player, confirming the third base location. And then herO just has that Oracle being chrono boosted out. A pretty standard opening. Now, what herO is incredibly good at as the game progresses is he will probably go into some sort of, I'm guessing, Blink Stalkers, as that's just a way he likes to open the game up and then take it somewhere else from there. He's really not a guy you're expecting to see like throw down a second Stargate or something like that. We will see him go for a pretty quick third base, getting that third up before the extra gases. That's what Protoss needs to do in order to have an economy that competes with Zerg. We also saw these Adepts getting surrounded by the Lings a little bit there, but they did get out. The Oracle is out now as well, going to be looking around for whatever it can pick off. A transferring drone, perhaps, over the Queen. Being a good shepherd, shoos that Oracle away. Reynor actually going to lose a larva, then try and save this drone, turning it into a spore crawler. We do see herO actually in a bit of trouble, as he didn't block those Lings getting into his main base. He's microing that Oracle, and that actually left him a little bit open to some Lings getting into his main base. Quite a few Lings, actually. Enough to cause some serious harm, as herO loses 4 workers to these Lings running into his main base. And it just goes to show that pro players can focus a little bit too much on one thing. We saw herO targeting down that larva, but then not having his wall be solid enough to stop him losing 4 workers. That is a big blow to the Protoss in the early game, when he didn't really get anything for it. And that's the strength of Reynor. Reynor will punish a Protoss player who leaves themselves open like that. And so now we see herO coming on in. He's going to want to try and get some counter damage done. Otherwise, Reynor's economy is just going to take off We see these Adepts trying to shade on in. Will they complete it? No, they won't. herO, he actually just runs a couple Adepts to that, well, runs the Adepts towards that third base. The Oracles come on in too. He's just trying to pick off as many drones as he can, and all in all, he gets 7. The Oracles are still alive, but we see Reynor pulling those drones into safety. They're actually taking quite a few shots there and have burned most of their energy. We see Reynor now attacking on the other side. herO's wall is solid this time, unfortunately for the one probe, soon to be a second probe popping out at that third nexus. They will be in trouble. And I did say those Oracles are low on energy, so herO's going to have to hopefully push those away. That's why we see him activate just one of the Oracles. We see him going to lose 3 workers, though. Has to activate yet another Oracle. He gets a few of the Lings as penance for Reynor, but herO has lost quite a few workers this game. 7 in total against 7 drones. Protoss generally doesn't really want to lose any probes at this stage in the game. That's just Reynor making use of the map, running those Lings in, and punishing herO. The Protoss player is now starting to mine out this mineral wall, interestingly enough. That rich mineral wall, making it not as much of an economic blow to actually mine that out. One of Crimson Court's features. However, still that one probe will mine out those minerals, open up a potential 4th base for herO, so he wants to have a supercharged economy this game. We see 2 Oracles coming on in, trying to get whatever drones they can. I believe that was 1. It must have just been 1 going down there, as otherwise it would show up on the left side of the screen. We have these Oracles still flying around. I believe 1's at home. Yeah, 1 is at home. And we do see herO going into these Blink Stalkers now, getting up the +1 attack and the Templar Archives. I do think we'll see that 4th base sooner rather than later, which is one of the ways herO really likes to play Protoss, allowing him to have an economy that lets him trade with gateway units against Zerg. And now, with these Stalkers out, with +2 out, herO should be able to get that Nexus up and be safe. Reynor isn't building up to any big attack or anything like that. He's also been mining off this rich gas, which is a nice boom for his economy, but he is getting up an infestation pit, still getting out roach speed, so it's going to be at least 40 seconds before any potential move out. And the fact that Reynor is making like a hive, he's not going to be attacking just yet, I don't believe. Potentially he's teching up to lurkers, as we see that Hydra Den on the way. herO will have Psystorm to counteract this. The Protoss will probably add on a couple more gateways in the coming minutes. Not that you gotta be an expert to predict that, as herO is going to be playing that mass gateway style, it seems. Does he even have a robo yet? No, he doesn't. So he is really just utilizing these gateway units, getting up lots of cannons at the 4th base, at really a couple of his bases, it looks like. I love to see that, as Reynor will be trying to punish herO, even having the battery in the wall and the cannon there. He just knows that Reynor's going to be coming in to attack him. The Oracles are trying to push the creep back, which is quite important, as it's getting dangerously close to herO's base. The Protoss may start to try and push into Reynor soon with these Stalkers, but both these guys are just playing for higher tech, as we see herO invest in a Stargate, a Fleet Beacon, start +1 air weapons. So he's going to try and use his good economy to just get out a lot of air units, potentially. It's just a small investment for now, going up to 2 Stargates, but it's enough to give Reynor pause. We will see these Stalkers kill off that Overseer prior to that Fleet Beacon and Stargate being scouted, which is actually quite significant, because Reynor will be wondering, what's herO building to? Is he going to attack soon? Is he teching up? What am I dealing with here? Is there going to be a prism at the back of my base? The answer is no, because there's no robo just yet. And so herO, he's just going to be potentially getting out some air units in a little bit. For now, they're just building lots of static defense, which will help out with lurkers and deal with counterattacks. And it's actually going to be Tempest from the Protoss player. That's an interesting take, because it's going to make the Zerg have to have some anti-air instead of just lurkers. Reynor does seem to want to use Queens in whatever attack he's going for, and he is starting to move out now. As we see, Queens stepping off a creep. Overlords are coming. They're going to drop their creep so that the Queens can still utilize Transfuse. And now lurkers are moving forward. We see Reynor going for a 1-2 punch. Beautiful static defense by herO. Catches a lot of those roaches, and Reynor's actually kind of moving a little bit, just running past those cannons. Great Psy Storms go down for the Protoss. There is still a lot of lurkers here causing problems, but now there's Tempest joining the fray. 2 High Templar do get way too far forward, and they get taken out, though that's a big blow to the Protoss. He was going to utilize that Psy Storm to soften up these Zerg units, and he is doing a great job of that. All of a sudden, Reynor's like, I'm attacking on in, but I got Tempests that are starting to shell away on me. Lurkers do burrow forward. The cannons prevent them from running all the way in there. It is still a big lurker ball, but Tempest put Reynor in a bit of an awkward position. He can't just keep sieging the Protoss. It's a great counter by herO. Now, Hydras are coming on in to try and help deal with these Tempests, and Tempests are garbage against Hydras. herO's not actually paying attention, so one of those Tempests goes down. He's busy trying to engage this Zerg force, catching some of the reinforcing Hydras on the left side. The Protoss' army is still looking pretty good. 2 more Tempests did just pop out, and that is going to force Reynor into a retreat, losing many, many units in that failed attack, and that was a failed attack by the Zerg. herO punished that incredibly hard. Overlords are now being paid as an additional pickoff by herO, and all of a sudden Reynor is on the defensive, but he's going to try and not stay that way for long, throwing up a Nidus network so we can just try and take out Protoss infrastructure and flip the game back on herO's side of the map, because now the Protoss has got all the leeway in the world to start attacking. He's investing in double cyber cores, so he must have lost one of them. That's going to allow him to get more of those air upgrades. We even see a carrier on the way, and carriers don't just go as one. There's definitely going to be more coming out. So herO is content just sitting back for now, not going to throw this game away, going for like an all-in attack to try and punish Reynor, which maybe he could have done, quite possibly, as a matter of fact, if we look at the supply. But instead, herO, he's just playing it cool, getting up a 5th base. Reynor is moving out on the map again, just trying to maintain presence here. But there's the Nidus network going off in the main base. herO warps in 2 Stalkers to deal with this, though. I believe there's probably Queens in this to try and transfuse it, but 2 Stalkers deal a lot of damage. We see a big recall. That is going to get shut down. It's like a Zealot run-by will be shut down by Reynor, but Reynor really wanted that Nidus to get off, because soon he's going to have to deal with carriers. The Zerg will move towards this 5th base. Protoss, when they're going for a base like this, kind of just hope the Zerg won't scout it out and do something about it. That's wishful thinking, though, against a guy like Reynor, so well done to him for shutting that down, preventing that Protoss economy from growing anymore. And as these bases start to mine out, they really are, by the way, herO will need another base up. Reynor's on 5 bases. He'll probably want a 6 soon. We see Spore Crawlers up, lots of Vipers being produced as well to abduct these carriers into the Hydras. High Templar, though, of course, can feed back the Vipers. Reynor's also potentially hurting for gas, as this rich gas has already mined out now. And so we see a 6 base going up, herO getting up a 5th base in the center of the map. And we're heading to the late game. A bit of an uncomfortable way to head to the late game for Reynor. He's definitely on the back foot after that bad trade. We pull up the resources lost. We see it's 6,500 to 11,000. So that is not great. Reynor, though, he's a master at getting damage done. We'll see if he can potentially just catch herO's army by surprise. These High Templar are glass cannons. If the Zerg can, say, get on top of them and prevent their storms from being used and staggered like the Protoss wants, that could be big. And of course, this game is just continuing on. We did see an Overseer go towards the upper left. herO, though, is on it. He knows how dangerous an unattended Overseer can be when the Zerg has a Nidus network. We see Overseers moving all over the place, as Reynor will try to get one of these up, but it's not going to happen. Individual Stalkers are getting abducted by Reynor. That's a cool play. That's gonna just be some nice pickoffs, maybe even getting herO's head a little bit. Like, what are you doing, man? Usually Zerg tries to abduct carriers or Tempest or anything that's high value. In this case, Reynor says just, I'll take whatever I can get, as they get the feeling that we're not going to see a big fight happen just yet. He may have spoken a little too soon, though, as now herO's moving on in, starting to push the Zerg. Reynor's like, oh, I could have abduct one of those Tempests perhaps, but then he's like, wait, I don't have the anti-air to actually deal with those. That's problematic. The Tempests have tectonic destabilizers, so they actually deal lots of damage to the spores. So we will see one abduct go down. There's even a few corruptors out. So one of those Tempests goes down. Reynor at the same time is killing this base, thinking he got the Protoss's 5th base perhaps, but it's actually the 6th. herO has got this rich gas coming on in and a booming economy. He's really pushing Reynor right now. The Zerg is in a bit of a tough spot. We do see Reynor trying to set up to deal with the Sky Toss army. Big Psystorm hitting Reynor's force, though. Feedback's also hitting some of the Vipers. The Corruptors just aren't in high enough number to threaten this air army of herO. And I mean, Reynor's even lacking on the upgrades. We see him just getting Carapace, just getting level 1 attack. herO's got +3 attack for his ground, 1/1 across the board for those air units. And Reynor, he's investing in Infestors. I mean, Neural Parasite's incredibly strong against Carriers and Tempests, but the High Templar are problematic. Reynor is going to abduct a few of the Tempests. That's nicely done. It's not easy for Protoss to push into Zerg static defense like this. You really have to be paying attention, and that's why we see herO get a little punished. One Hydra tries to take on a Tempest. They're not quite that good against Tempest. Corruptors are coming on in, but we see herO expertly zoning them out with the High Templar. Reynor is actually looking for some counterattack damage now, but this is where all of herO's static defense comes into play. The Lings will find this 5th base and potentially deny mining there for a little bit. Reynor just puts the Lings on hold position to avoid those cannons. He could potentially get a little more done there, but he's also really under siege by this Protoss. Eventually, the Zerg may just try and pull the trigger. We see a big fungal growth go down, a few lurkers burrow. That will be most of the High Templar dead, and Reynor knows it, now diving on top of that Protoss army, but then he backs out a little bit. The static defense is mainly gone. That's actually going to allow the Tempest to really keep pushing on in here. Lurkers are now bearing the brunt of these Tempest shots. Reynor's scared, and he's abandoning the base. We'll see if that's the right decision or not. He has to respect all these Archons, though, and as a result, he throws up an Ultra Cavern, perhaps a little bit too late, needing something to clear the ground army, the High Templar, the Archons of herO, but he's not going to have that time, as we see Reynor in a really rough position, clicks on a bunch of his Lurkers into that Nidus network, as he's actually still got some units in there. I guess he's trying to go for a play on the other side of the map, but he needs to focus everything on the defense right now. herO's coming on in, killing off critical tech structures. There are no Broodlords out to help deal with the ground, so while Reynor may be able to deal with the air army, the ground force is just so terrifying, and that's a big if he can deal with the air army. herO's just been keeping the pressure on the Zerg for so darn long. There's so many High Templar to keep Psystorming those Corruptors, so it'll need to be a great split by the Zerg to deal with this, and then the Archons on the ground will just shred them. We see 3 Ultras get fired up now for Reynor. That's what he's banking on to help deal with this, and they definitely will absorb a lot of the shots, particularly if, say, the Carriers, Interceptors target them. We are seeing some of the counter harassment go on right now with these Lurkers. They kind of went on an odd journey to get here, but they are harassing the Protoss's economy. herO's still got a big bank, though both players have decent banks. Low gas for Reynor, but he's still got plenty of minerals to play with. Picking off the Tempest just to slow the push by the Protoss. herO says enough, though, and he's just going to attack on in. Reynor's making 8 Ultras, but they're so delayed in popping out. One of them pops out right in the battle. A few transfuses to try and help out, but yeah, that is just a bad engagement for the Zerg, producing units when all that tech is vulnerable, and the units are popping out right in the fight. We've seen herO even attack with a couple Tempests and an Immortal, clear out another base. Reynor's in a really rough spot. I mean, herO's reinforcing with Stalkers now, going for a kill. Reynor's incredibly supply blocked since a lot of those Overlords died, and I think the Protoss player is just going to have taken out Reynor. GG gets called. herO, with the successful push, is able to kill off the Zerg. I mean, that attack started like, I don't know, like 5 minutes ago or so, and it never really stopped. Part of the effect of Crimson Court, a map where the bases aren't too far apart. And so, yeah, Great attack by herO. And I will say, herO lost this Nexus, but his static defense, I think, really helped cripple Reynor a little. Well, helped prevent Reynor from getting momentum in this game. Like, we saw some of those counterattacks, but herO, he just kept attacking no matter what else was going on the map. He even lost that Nexus, but it was still enough. And Reynor, if he had another minute, he may have stabilized and been able to fight off this Protoss army. I mean, he was going to have like 8 or 10 Ultras or something, plenty of Corruptors, and that's enough to move in on a Zerg army. Or on a Protoss army, pardon me. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, go ahead, click that like button if you made it to the end of the video. Subscribe to the channel if you made it to the end of the video and you're not. I try and mix in a good amount of these procasts along with the bot games. Becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support the channel. That goes a long way to helping out. What else did I say? Leave a comment, join the Discord, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.